there's a massive amount of turd polishing going on the right wing right now, and it is a glorious thing to see. I'm enjoying myself thoroughly. Every single one of these videos where like it was actually, I think it's a positive because I had a and that is when there are no good lies, everybody will just gang up and like kind of pile on the most common one, which is, I just think it's good that we're seeing this. This is transparency, you know, that business. And again, one of the people who gives us some of the dumbest takes we see on the show is, of course, Dan Bongino, who calls in on this on Fox and Friends, you know, right right in the middle of their like creepazoid fucking blocking that they have with the flowers and the chick in the short skirt sitting in the middle of the two dudes. It just fucking creeps me out. For fuck's sake. Get a table that covers everyone's laps. You cretins. It's gross. They're just, it's like they have the woman in the middle and it's only so that they can wait, to, you know, everybody at home going, maybe she'll basic instinct us. Today's the day. It's so gross. It's so fucking gross. Anyways, Bongholio either calls in or visits. We'll see. It's but he says, Dan Bongino, I've never been prouder of the country. Are you out of your fucking mind?
We love to hear from Dan Bongino, friend of the show. Dan.
Yeah, that's totally true. They put it in the teleprompter, so I had to say.
Great to see you. You know, big news overnight. I don't know if you were watching live, but you've certainly seen it. 14th vote, didn't quite go. It was a tie. 15th vote. Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the House. Your reaction to this process and the outcome?
Okay, I got a lot to say about this, so just grab your coffee, ladies and gents, and stand by.
None of it will be coherent or worth hearing. It'll just be a lot of bloviating, blather of the kind of shit we've heard before.
So a couple things.
All right, number one.
Number one, to the crowd out there that was whining and moaning and wetting their diapers about, oh my gosh, it's chaos, what a clown show. You can shut your pie hole.
Okay, first of all, none of us were, the people saying it's a clown show, I mean, other than Sean Hannity, by the way, I think that's what it was. I think maybe he's just telling Sean Hannity to shut his pie hole, which I'm fine with. But as far as like our side of the aisle, I breathed easy during the whole fucking thing. I don't know about you, right? Didn't you? Huh? I enjoyed it. I almost ran out of popcorn. There will never be enough.
Okay, this is a constitutional republic. It's not North Korea. We don't go with Kim Jong-un behind closed doors and beat the crap out of people.
Hey, dum-dum. The rules package changes and the committee assignments that were offered as, you know, as a way of getting votes all happen behind closed doors. The fuck are you talking about?
Do is we negotiate. We did it on this channel. Fox News carried the majority of this live.
No, you didn't. You carried the votes live, fucko. You didn't have a camera inside his office.
Every single American citizen in this God-fearing country that I love so much got to see on live television. If you just turned on the TV, you can even turn on C-SPAN. I think it's free. You don't even have to pay.
It is. And welcome to Earth.
Pay for cable, right? You could have watched your elected representatives in a constitutional republic hash out their differences in front of the entire world. They
didn't hash out their differences. He bought their votes and he didn't even get them. They ultimately, he gave away the whole fucking store and they voted present. He didn't get their votes.
It's a glorious thing to watch.
It was glorious, I will say. This part in particular, right when Rep. Rogers comes out and tries to choke Matt Gaetz.
And I've never been prouder of our country. And I want to say to the 20 holdouts.
What? And again, the what?
Who got massive concessions that will control spending and bring more sanity to the House. I want to thank you on behalf of the conservative movement. Because think about it.
One thing changed from the rules from Monday to Sunday. One, single person moved to vacate. which a large portion of the 20 were against. That's what moved them over. Is that they thought they're going to start losing other stuff, so they dumped it. And by the way, it's not his fault. He's stupid. He doesn't know these things. He didn't know. You couldn't, like, honest to God, he hasn't looked at the rules package. He hasn't even heard the talk about it. This is all just a show for him. The idea that this somehow looks awesome is fucking absurd.
In less than 5 days,
less than 5 days? When's the last time it took more than a day?
Probably got more done to restrain spending in the next couple of years.
No, again, none of those rules, the balanced budget vote, the stuff about the debt ceiling, all that stuff was already in the rules package. Already. This fuckhead does not know that. But that's it. All that stuff was agreed on months ago. This has nothing to do with those things.
Than a lot of crap talkers in the Republican Party did in the last 50.
It's true.
So again, to the whiny...
What do you mean it's fucking... Well, I would agree. Republicans don't govern, so that's, again, world's loudest whisper, world's tallest midget.
Money crowd sitting there going, oh my gosh, the people will remember this. And this looks so chaotic. You know what? You're damn right they'll remember it, and I'll remember it too. It's one of the first times a bunch of elected conservatives went to Congress, said they were going to stand up for something, and then actually did it.
And then they didn't actually do anything. It was the same when they started this bullshit as when it ended, except for one of them can stick a fork in him anytime they fucking want to. One. Not five. One. They don't even have to gaggle about it. You think this asshole isn't going to go, all right, in 4 months, I start my plan to run for president, or whatever the fuck he thinks he's going to do next. Or senator, or whatever's available in fucking Florida. You don't think that asshole's going to use that as his tee-off point?
And that's what I'm going to remember.
Dan, where do you see this going then? In this victory that has been accomplished, this actual accomplishment on behalf of the conservative movement, what's next then?
Yeah, what are they going to do with this fresh, hot power?
For those who represent that.
Well, the concessions are important. I mean, you've got a reinstitution of the Holman Rule, which allows them to cut the
already in there before all this bullshit.
Salaries of some of these swamp rat employees who are working not for but against the United States. You've got some mechanism now for spending restraint, pairing budget cap increases with spending cuts.
That was already in there, too.
These are real things. Now, there's some people out there fairly on the conservative side saying, well, what's the guarantee they're going to stick to the deal? You know, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a good answer for you that. The only guarantee is we got it now on paper, and it's going to be really hard for them in primaries to run away from it now that they got a deal if they break it
and
later.
They have a motion to vacate.
So I hope,
Dan, they can
and
vacate.
we got a one-member motion to vacate, which is really ridiculously powerful. I want to add.
Yeah, it is ridiculously powerful, I suppose, if you want to tack
one
that
more
on.
thing, too. You know, listen, this is over, and I'd like to see some unity going forward. But going forward, I'd highly recommend.
All right, I'm going to tell you guys about Balance in Nature.
What the heck?
It's a terrific product. Look, new year, new you, right? Well, you guys got to make sure you get the fruits and veggies that you need to be able to get you up.
It made my other video start. Beg your pardon. Where is this nonsense? Okay, where was he?
Side saying, well, what's the guarantee they're going to stick? Calling your political allies. Yes, allies. Motion to vacate, which is this is over, and I'd like to see some unity going forward. But going forward, I'd highly recommend people like the Dan Crenshaws of the world and the Don Bacons of the world that calling your political allies, yes, allies in your movement, calling them enemies and terrorists, maybe take a course in public communication. Listen, Crenshaw's got a decorated
Oh, you mean the way you talk about your fellow Americans all the fucking time?
history with the United States military, which I honor and deeply respect. He left a piece of himself on the battlefield, and you have my ultimate respect for doing that. However, that does not make you a gifted politician. And calling people
you don't have the gifts that Dan Bongholio has.
terrorists and enemies when you claim to be part of the Republican Party is about the most asinine thing I've ever seen. And please, if you can't handle yourself better, then stay off TV. You're not helping the situation at all. And Don Bacon calling for, oh, maybe we'll just.
So he should self-censor, or should Fox just not let him on? Is that how it works? Is that, I don't know if that's in the real
go work with
package.
the Democrats. Really, Don? Don's from Nebraska. You really believe that's what your constituents voted for? You to be voting for with Democrats to pick a speaker? Come on, guy. Give it a rest. That my old baseball coach used to say that when you screwed up. He'd say, come on, guy. It's time to wake up.
Come on, guy. Because he didn't bother to learn your name, it still burns. It still stings, doesn't it? That's so sad. We should just call him Guy Bongholio from now on.
We voted for conservatives, not a continuance of the same old garbage.
I feel
oh, you mean the backroom deals and the... Oh, never mind.
exactly the same way. We voted for conservatives, not necessarily, not that they're one and the same with Republicans. Meaning I have thought, we have for too long thought of this as a team-based sport.
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't trust anybody if I was you. I mean, what are you going to do? Take for granted that they're on your side? I don't know. You should come up with something where they have to, like, prove their worth every time you talk to them, because you never know when they're going to turn. Just saying. The other side is, it's like a tractor beam. They could be pulled into communism. Who knows?
And it's simply that Republicans represent conservatives when we need to make sure that is the case. And Dan, I can't think of a time in my lifetime when that's been a bigger shifting ground underneath our feet. In a world of censorship and vaccine mandates, we need to figure out who stands for what and how we're going to...
Yeah. How do I even know you're really a Republican? Just because you're an elected Republican.
I'm going to go forward with this, and I don't mean this gratuitously, and I'm going to tee you up for this. Your show has been one of the places where we've had these conversations. What does it mean? You know a lot about civics, you know a lot about philosophy.
No. I mean, compared to Fox and Friends staff in general, yeah. But that's true of, your average third grader with a railroad spike through his head.
And what's it mean? I can expect you're going to begin to have or continue to have those conversations tonight on Unfiltered.
Well,
thanks for teeing us up. Absolutely. I'm looking for a teepee for my bunghole.
one of the reasons I enjoy working here is
because of the vaccine mandate at work?
we have a variety of voices. There are a lot of hosts here who felt differently than I did.
Yeah. The ones that think shit through.
And that's fine. They have different sources and different reasons, okay?
Yeah, you have no sources and no reasons. There's two sides of every coin.
My show tonight, in the open, we acknowledge that good, and we're glad it's over. We got a speaker. We got what we could get. We took the win. We got massive wins for the conservative movement. But I want to point out tonight how all the people in the media talking about this was some kind of clown show. Listen to my monologue tonight.
No. I'll look at it in a couple days. I'm just not, it's not really anything motivating me to, not this anyways. I mean, I understand you're there on Fox and Friends to plug your show later because the ratings suck and they're having you on. That's nice of them that you're on the Saturday Fox and Friends. I don't know why they won't have you on the regular weekday where the real ratings are. I don't know. That's a question you're going to have to ask someone at the place you love to work. But I'm going to guess that it's because you suck and you're annoying and you don't offer anything and you're just kind of belligerent and weird. Same reason you're not on the 5 anymore or on, what's the other show they have? Outnumbered, their version of The View plus a dude.
Where I talk about the real clown show. What happened with the Democrats while the media was busy insulting us for fighting for spending restraint and prosperity in the Republic. I want you to see what the Democrats were doing. Wait till I lay it out in the monologue. You want to see a real clown show? Watch that. And one more thing I want to...
Which, you can't give us a hint? You mean the part where they were just voting for their leader lockstep so that no votes would go to you guys because that's smart?
Mention too. I'll get into tonight a little bit as well. Listen.
Yeah, a little, not a lot. Don't expect all your questions to be answered. That's why there has to be a sequel.
For all these people like, and the Democrats, they always stick together and we don't. Good. I'm not the Borg. I'm not a damn automaton. I'm a conservative Republican. And conservative Republicans are uniquely...
So would you have voted for McCarthy or would you have voted with the MAGA crowd? Because the conservatives, in theory, voted with McCarthy. It was the MAGA types, the ultra-conservative, the ultra-MAGA, they voted against. I mean, it's a label. Who gives a shit?
Entrepreneurial. They believe in liberty and freedom, and we don't all think alike. And we got to a conclusion. It took a couple of days. We got some of what we wanted. The more moderate wing got some of what they wanted. We've got.
Did they? You mean the whole thing that they worked out beforehand? You got one thing? Well, you got committee
A
seats.
speaker, and the business of the House will continue. It is a glorious day for the Republic. Everyone should celebrate it
Yes, I am. I'm celebrating. My nipples are hard. It's very exciting.
today. You shouldn't. There's no reason to hide your head in shame.
No. Just because things haven't gotten this fucked up in 100 years, and it's shit you could have worked out months ago fairly easily, and even though, like, the one change is just going to be a recipe for more chaos, celebrate.
That's a left-wing media garbage narrative. It was a glorious week, and
It was glorious, and we glory in our great leader, Donald John Trump, and the rays of orange sunshine that spray in fumes from his asshole.
I enjoyed every second of it.
Sure he did.
I agree with you. If they
Well, I mean, I'd enjoy every second of it, but others, like for the dull moments, the people trying to attack Matt Gaetz part, kind of, there were peaks and valleys.
voted 100 times, fine. If it takes us to a place where we get these kinds
That's
of
right.
conceptions, it's
Conceptions?
fantastic. And I'm sure you saw it, Dan, and we got to go. Hakeem Jeffries gave a disgusting speech before
Oh, it's disgusting. So disgusting.
giving it to Kevin McCarthy,
He did give it to Kevin McCarthy, I will say.
impugning everything. So be careful what's behind Nancy Pelosi, because there's a lot of radicals in that Democrat Party right
Oh, man, radicals. Radical.
now, and they're in control.
Yeah, and luckily we've got now some good, strong rules to restrain some of the stuff they're doing. And
Yeah.
Pete joins
No.
me tonight on the show too. We've got a couple hot take stories you probably missed this week
Probably did, because we were watching the actual news.
with the drama, including Hillary Clinton is now a professor. So Pete has some funny comments about that
Oh, it's hilarious. It's so funny.
too.
Like chicks teaching. I mean, don't even.
Yes,
Is teaching in some school or something.
I know, some chick teaching at some school or whatever.
I don't miss that.
Yeah, it's just a senator and secretary of state, and yeah, dude, what does she know, right? I wear a t-shirt and a suit jacket like a stand-up from 1987 to work. What does she know?
Can't wait to take that course. Dan Bongino, thank you, brother.
Thanks, Dan.
Great
Have
to
a
see
great
you.
day.
Yeah, I know, like chick politics. Oh my God, I'm alone here.
Guys, take care.
I'm Steve.
Yeah, see you later. Okay, great. That's so good. Fun. I'm over. That was magic. That was everything we expected and so little. You're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. I'm trying to reset every time I switch to clips so that I get my shit together, and I hope you appreciate it. I bore myself even talking about it. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, support the show. I'm the only one. I mean, they post these things. This is their argument. This is their statement. This is their I don't know, their sales pitch to you on their philosophy, their ideals, and their capabilities.